On that chat about the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund coming up with the 6 month initiative aimed at tackling the challenges that child safety, children rather, who are in the digital space or involved in that space and the challenges that they may have in terms of their safety. So we're joined now by Refiloe Mokoena, who is Child Safety and Protection Manager at the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. Refiloe, I believe we can hear you now. How are you?
Yes, morning, Asanda. I'm well, thanks, and hope you are too. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. It's definitely a much better connection. Let's talk about the initiative that's been launched by the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund to tackle the issue of safety when it comes to children in the digital space.
Yes, so we've actually named this initiative Digital Safety and Child Participation in the Fourth Industrial Revolution because it's about exactly that. So on the one hand, ensuring children's safety and rights in the digital environment, and on the other hand, centering them as actual drivers and architects of digital policies and practices that affect them. I'm not sure if all of us are aware, but according to statistics released by the UN, over 95% of South African children will use the internet at least once within a year. So it means that childhood is increasingly happening online. There are opportunities to that, but there are also a lot of risks. And this initiative was framed in response to those risks, but also to support children to make the most of the digital world.
So, what are some of those risks that children face when they are engaged in the digital spaces that they engage in? And how is this initiative aiming to tackle that?
Thank you. Thanks for that. So we find when we engage with children and also other researchers in the space that online commercial and sexual exploitation is quite rife. About 20% of the children who have reported on this say that they've received unwanted sexual material, images, videos from somebody online, including people they've never met. Grooming is another issue that they face, including exposure to adult or inappropriate content. And of course, even their data isn't safe because as you surf the internet, as you open different pages, videos, there are algorithms that actually keep track of what it is you seem to be interested in and then feed certain content to you. And not all of that content is appropriate for a child. And I think to finish off, we also have children who sometimes form close relationships with AI companions, ChatGPT, which I'm sure we've heard sometimes can actually lead them to self-harm if they get those kind of responses from AI companions. And of course, there's cyberbullying, which actually can happen amongst children themselves, where they can be both victims and perpetrators. So there's a whole host of risks that children are exposed to in the digital world. And our initiative really aims to bring together experts across the ecosystem, including the private and tech companies themselves, who are the ones who create these platforms, as well as parents, academics, civil society, and the children to generate new knowledge and solutions to some of these risks.
The program or the project is for 6 months. And what are some of the events or activities that are planned, and why this particular time frame?
Sure. So most of the activities that we're engaged in is really convenings of the most critical stakeholders in the digital space. We host a monthly brown bag discussion, which is literally a gathering, a facilitated discussion that's open to the public. If you look on our website, you might see where those are happening. That brings together leading South African and international experts in the field to share on subtopics on digital safety. For example, we've looked at data and trends to say, what is the online behavior of a typical South African child today? And what does that mean for policies and for the policy frameworks that we operate within? Next week, we're going to be hosting another one, unpacking the basics. So even terminology, when you say cookies, when you say algorithms, what actually are those things? And how is it that our devices are actually designed to keep us and children engaged on them? We also do bigger convenings, for example, in partnership with Stellenbosch University, we recently hosted the second International Conference on Children's Rights that again focused exclusively on their digital rights and brought in actors like the MTN Group, Netflix, as well as leading civil society and international academics. And then finally, and what I think is actually the most critical, are our engagements with children. So we support children to start their own initiatives and campaigns just in their daily lives, in their schools, with their parents, because they're the ones who participate on platforms and they're the ones who witness and at times even participate in cyberbullying, catfishing. So they're the most powerful voice that other children will listen to about the dangers. And we're very excited for the final phase of the 6-month initiative, which will be our Digital Justice Summit for about 50 to 100 children, where they'll be able to engage with adults, research institutes like the Children's Institute at UCT to co-write a policy brief that will have concrete recommendations for policy based on all the evidence we would have gathered over the past 6 months.
Are there certain online platforms that you found serve as the hotspots when it comes to digital child safety, or would you say the risks are across the board?
I think the risks are across the board. We have to acknowledge that there are platforms, companies such as Google that really have made a huge effort to embed safeguards into their services and into their platforms. But of course, children are mostly on social media, WhatsApp, TikTok, those are the most prevalent platforms they use. And even if it isn't so by design, those are some of the places where they can be the most exposed to harm.
You mentioned partnerships as well as part of the initiative with tech companies. How has the response been on that front, where the companies do want to make profit, but they have to tackle this issue? It's a real one of child safety online.
Yes, I think it's a mixed result. I think, as I said, and in any new initiative, there will always be those leaders, those companies, those individuals that say, this is actually something that's important and it's beyond just our business initiative. So you actually have tech companies who, in another context, would be competitors coming together to say, how do we address keeping children safe online so that we can still grow our business, but know that we are not harming one of our most important and vulnerable groups in the population. So I think there's a mixed response. One of the things that we're really hoping will come out of this series, as well as the Digital Justice Summit itself, is stronger legislation, that will more effectively mandate companies to embed those kind of safeguards, age restrictions, etc., in the products that they offer.
Refiloe, thanks again for your time and do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Asanda. Same to you.
Thanks. Refiloe Mokoena is Child Safety and Protection Manager at the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. They're launching a digital child safety campaign or initiative that's going to be spanning over 6 months, bringing awareness to the dangers that children being online face and, educating all of us, I guess, and reminding us to be mindful of all of that.
Yeah, social media, that whole world nowadays, you click on one thing and the way that they set up these things is you're actually not clicking through to that thing, you're clicking somewhere else, and before you know what's happening, you're in a whole world and a whole line. Just it's a tough one, man.
And you get bombarded. I mean, even as an adult, you just feel
Yeah.
like it's a lot. Yesterday, I was complaining to my daughter that I literally clicked on one food item online, and all I got was just these cooking things and videos, and I was like, but
exactly.
all right.
Anyway.